Hi everybody, I'm Todd McComas. I'm a stand-up comedian and the host of the true crime podcast 1041 with Todd McComas, the comedy podcast Funtown, and the TV and film podcast Dockheads. On Dockheads, I break down popular documentaries with my co-hosts Jeff Oskey and Jessica Alsman. Now, like the rest of the podcast world, we've spent the last few weeks breaking down the international phenomenon, which is Tiger King on Netflix. I had a particular interest in Tiger King because before I did this, I was a detective for the Indiana State Police for 21 years. Now, back in 2002, I had to arrest a man named Dennis Hill that owned and operated a private exotic animal zoo. Now, although my charges were in no way related to the animals or the running of that zoo, I did learn that he was a breeder of tigers. In fact, if you watch Tiger King, he was in episode 3 explaining that he was the very first person to sell a tiger to Carol Lewis, who's now Carol Baskin, and her missing husband, Don Lewis. It was through this man that I first learned about this feud that exists between private owners of exotic animals, especially tigers, and the animal rights community. So nearly 18 years later, when I saw Tiger King, and I saw Dennis and his friend Tim Stark, who owns and operates Wildlife in Need right here in Indiana, I just had to reach out and find out more, because this feud between animal rights activists had evolved quite a bit. We saw what happened to Joe Exotic, and I wanted to get some information on why that happened. Well, I was able to find out some things I didn't get to see or hear on Tiger King. I also got to meet Tim Stark, a man who's as passionate about his animals as many parents are about their own children. And he's funny as shit.
Now they're gonna know they should have left me alone. I warned them. I warned them. You know, you didn't heed my warning, you dumb motherfuckers. You should have fucking listened. You think you're invincible? Guess what? You're not. Good girl. Good girl. Hi, baby.
What did you think about the documentary Netflix after it came out?
I actually thought it turned out, damn good in all reality. I mean, it was a train wreck, but it's reality. Most of your reality shows are made up and scripted. That one, Eric did a hell of a job on portraying. They can get as mad as they want. Doc Antle, he has no reason to be mad. I don't think it portrayed him as bad. They talked about his harem, this, that. I've talked about that for years. And I've stood up now and said I was wrong for ever bad-mouthing Doc, because whatever he does, that's his business. It has nothing to do with me. So I was wrong for bad-mouthing Doc. Joe, when I met Joe, I don't remember what year it was. It's been about a dozen years ago. But Joe was one of the most intelligent people I ever met in this industry. He was a badass motherfucker. And he cared about his animals, everything else. Joe's life, the way he let it go, and the battles he chose to fight, destroyed him. When he chose to pick a battle with Carol Baskins, a lot of us tried to tell him, knock it off, you dumbass. She's got too much money. She's too powerful. You're going to get burnt. No, I won't. No, I won't. I'm going to take her down. Fuck that bitch, blah, 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 blah. And he went into it. It cost him his life, pretty much. It took his life away. Joe got desperate. I know exactly how Joe feels. When you think everything's being taken away from you, legally, through anything and everything, you get desperate. So Joe was getting desperate, reaching anywhere and everywhere, whether it was running for president, running for governor, doing this, doing that. Joe got desperate. I know that. I am not exactly to that point. I'm in a different type of desperation, but it's still the same thing. So I know exactly how Joe felt and how he was going through it. Now, the other characters on the show, whether it be John Finley, I mean.
How well do you know John?
Pretty damn well. I mean, I know him well enough to where John came out here about 10 years ago. They came out here to get some of my big cats. Chew, Mike, you're not going nowhere. Stand up there. Stand up there. Stand up there, buddy. Good boy. Good boy. You're not going nowhere. I know. I know. Stay put. But, John was always super nice guy. Super nice. I don't really have anything bad to say about him other than he's a dumbass. Simply because all I hear now is, I didn't know any better. Well, I'm sorry. Are you 6 years old? if you were misled and coerced into turning gay when you weren't gay, if you were talked into getting all these tattoos about your husband Joe and this or that, that puts you in dumbass category. That don't put you in misled. All you had to do is walk away from it. It's that simple. You were an adult. All you had to do is say, no. I don't care if Joe was providing money for your meth or whatever. I don't care. That don't mean, that's a choice you make every day. Drug addiction is not a fucking, medical thing. It's a choice.
How bad was the drug use there? Because it just seemed like everybody, with the exception of a couple people, were pretty strung out.
Yep. And I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I've known Joe for years. I talked to Joe, God knows how many times over the years. I've been around Joe not quite a few, a handful of times, and I've never, ever seen him once on drugs. Never once. Now, the other people that were there, well, fuck yeah. I mean, that's all it is, a big goddamn drug fest. And I mean, you look at Travis, Joe's husband. I never met Travis, but everybody that I talked to when I was out in Oklahoma, Travis was fucking high 24/7. He lived life to the fullest. No, he was high as a fucking kite to the fullest, which made him live life. John, they're all damn, get on there, quit. They are all new furniture. But they, like I said, John, super nice guy. He let himself get in because I won't go into detail, but I've seen videos of some of the sexual endeavors that John participated in.
Meth's a powerful drug.
Damn near made me puke. Now, the thing about it is, in those videos, you could see that John did not like being there, having that shit done to him. One time it was in a video and he's having shit done to him and he's he's piddling with his motorcycle helmet. Another one, he's laying there having all this shit done to him. He's reading magazines and shit. Mentally, he was trying to escape it. It was almost like he felt that he had to let it happen. He had to have it done. No, John, you were an adult. You could have just got up, gave him the finger, and walked the fuck out. Joe never held you gunpoint and specifically made you stay there all of those years. You were addicted to the lifestyle, the drugs, the big cats, all of the, look at me, look at me, look at me. It's addicting when you're around these animals to go, oh, look at me, look at me, look at me. We are all addicted. That's not what we got into it for, but it's addicting to be able to sit here just, oh, quit that, quit that. It's addicting to sit here and have something like this right here on my lap, whatever, just for the glory of it, because you love being with it, let alone if it attracts women, or I guess maybe in some of their cases out there, if it attracts other men, or whatever. But, so it is, it's like Doc, it's an attractant. So if that's what puts you on that pedestal, that's not the main reason we do it, but that's where it leads you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Why does a politician fucking start wanting to be a politician? Because they want to step it up to where they're the ones up on the highest pedestal they can reach. What's the fucking difference? None. None at all. The only difference is we work, politicians don't. Then you got like John Rinke, the guy with the legs gone. Now I only met John one time, and that was just for a few minutes, a long time ago when me and my wife went out there to Joe. He was having a big convention, and it wasn't too long after I'd sent him some tigers out there. We wanted to see the tigers and shit, and we went out there to the convention, and I met John then for shit, maybe 5 minutes. So I really don't know John personally. I've seen him a lot on the internet and all that kind of shit, and then see him in the show. John looks legit as hell. Looks like a very caring individual. I mean, I would love to have John come out here where we could just sit here and shoot the shit.
He seemed like, and he even expressed this, that he was kind of a babysitter.
That's right. His job was to keep Joe out of trouble.
Yeah. And he had all these staff.
That's right.
That came from troubled backgrounds.
That's right.
And addiction problems.
So you were constantly on there. John was constantly, I know what it's like, because anytime you have staff, volunteers, or any kind of shit, you feel like you're a constant fucking babysitter. And You got to hold their hand in order to do this. And I'm not that way. I'm ex-drill sergeant. I'm ex-fucking, I don't play no fucking game. I bark out a goddamn order. I expect the order to be done. End of discussion. No fucking bullshit. And when they don't, I come down on them like a drill sergeant. I yell, cuss, scream, holler, call them names. I don't fucking care if I offend them. I'm the offender. So, it's in today's world, somebody like me is an offender because I'm going to say shit that's going to fucking hurt somebody's feelings. I'm not going to give a fuck.
You talk about this desperation that comes with the financial struggle and then government regulations coming after you, the animal rights activists, everybody coming at all different angles. And as you described it, there's really even no playbook. They're just kind of, everybody has their own sets of rules that they think you have to abide by. So I've seen over and over again a lot of owners of private zoos or maintainers of exotic animal habitats have to resort to like criminal or illegal means to bring in revenue.
I agree with
stuff. And you've not done that. You've not had to do that. How can we combat that problem? Because I would assume in 90% or higher these cases were great people that meant well and were passionate about the habitat, maintaining the animals. Mm-hmm. And then they had to resort to illegal means to even be able to feed animals and whatnot. So how do you stop that?
The government's going to have to stop it. How would the government stop it? It would be simple. Anytime an animal rights organization files any kind of complaint, tell them to go fuck themselves. It's none of their goddamn business. Simply because I am licensed through the United States Department of Agriculture. I am overseen by the United States Department of Fish and Wildlife Services. Like PETA, ALDF, fucking HSUS, none of those are governing agencies. They find these little loopholes, just like they did with the Endangered Species Act, to literally go attack people like myself.
So sometimes do you feel like you're being treated as a criminal?
Oh yeah, and you're 100% guilty until proven innocent. That's the bad thing about it. It's like I said earlier, when they get you in court, they're on offense, you're on defense. So more or less, anything they're saying, you have to prove your innocence, which is bullshit. And there's one lousy, simple civil suit clause in the Endangered Species Act that allows them to file a lawsuit against people. And it's not because I'm doing anything wrong. They just don't want me here. They seen that I was getting powerful. I went from here to here to here, just like that. And when they seen that, they automatically, that's when Carol Baskin was like, go attack him. Don't let him get, they don't go after Doc Antle really, because Doc Antle makes way too much money. That's the main reason Doc Antle, they've tried to attack Doc, but he's always had the money to shut him down. Most individuals don't. So, after we try to fight it and fight it and fight it because we know we're right, we know we're fucking innocent, but it don't matter in the court of law. In the court of law, you have to play the game. You're in federal court. You have to abide by these federal rules and this game. Fuck you. My life is not a game for anybody to play with.
So you've been forced out of desperation at times into a position where you've made bad decisions. Not illegal decisions.
Yeah, you damn
but
right.
Poor decisions.
You damn right.
Based on who you made a connection with or whatever.
You damn right. It fully ended my marriage. It fully ended a lot of relationships that I had here with volunteer staff, the community, all kinds of stuff. Because I did make bad decisions. I went out there, tried to do it. Once I realized that Jeff Lowe was a scumbag piece of shit and everything else, I chose to pack it up and come back, and different stuff. But
is that what happened to Joe at some level? Was he fine when he was a small-time operation?
Oh, yeah.
And then once he started experiencing success, he got on the radar?
Yep.
And then
Carol Baskins, like Joe stated in there, he just happened to, somebody told him there was an article about somebody that was doing the cats, blah, blah, blah. Joe looked at the article and ended up being him. And that was Carol Baskins posting that fucking article. That's why the feud became between the two of them. Joe had a problem with 23 tiger babies dying, and they didn't know what it was. Carol Baskins automatically started bashing Joe and trying to trash him and blah, 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 blah. Joe was doing everything, and if I remember right, it ended up being something to do with the formula. Between the formula and, like I told Joe, you pulling cubs at a day old, that's bullshit. I tried to tell that to Joe for years. You leave them with mom for 10 to 14 days so they can get the colostrum, get all the nutrients, get immunity, and all that kind of shit from mom. Then you pull them, and you put them on the bottle. Joe was Joe. And that was the only thing that me and Joe ever got into it about, was the pulling of cubs. Quit pulling the motherfuckers from day one. The mortality rate is too fucking high when you do that. So quit, But Joe did get to where it was all about the money, selling the cubs. And Joe was wanting to be the big time breeder of the big cats, the hybrids, and all that kind of shit. So he was producing them while he was selling the ones he didn't want to keep, on and on and on. Nothing illegal about it, and all that kind of shit, until 2016, when they put them on the fucking endangered species list. And what that did, when they put them on there, that put a halt to what they call interstate commerce. And interstate commerce is anytime you, like within the animal industry, if I was to have a litter, or if I was to go out here and get a tiger and sell it, I cannot sell them across state lines with them being on the endangered species list. You have to have a CBW license, which is a captive bred wildlife permit. And that is stupid bullshit to go through. But I can still sell you a tiger today. You live in Indiana. That's intrastate commerce. Interstate is going across state lines. Intrastate is doing things within your own state. So I can legally sell you a fucking tiger today. You can take it living here in Indiana. Then next month, you could legally say, well, I'm moving to fucking Arizona. As long as Arizona will allow you to have that cat, you can take it. That's how fucked up it is. Like I said, this is not a job. This is a lifestyle. Joe got wrapped up. When I first went out there, his staff he had, some of them may have been drug addicts, whatever, but they were good, clean people, good citizens, everything else, nice people. I've kept up good friendships throughout the years with some of them, and then over the years, it got to where you had slim pickings. You had to start resorting to the piece of shit drug addicts and criminals just getting out of jail that didn't have any other job, didn't have a home or whatever. And Joe thought, hell, we can use this. So in one way, it was a smart choice by Joe. In another way, it was a bad choice by Joe. But I understand where the position Joe was stuck in. And then it escalated. And like I said, Joe created his own problems, but he's innocent of the problems he created. It's hard to understand that way. Like I said.
What do you mean by that exactly?
Joe was a very, 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 not only a loving person with animals, Joe was a very, very, and it still is a very, very loving person towards people. So am I. We just hate people. There's a difference. You may love people. I will give somebody's shirt off my back. I give hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of animals away to help people. This or that. I do all kinds of stuff. Anything and everything. I used to do programs every year with the mentally handicapped and shit, all the time. And I loved it. And I love being around those type of people because they don't judge you. They're there, and I cut up with them, joke around with them, and all that kind of shit. Joe was the same way, So we are caring, loving individuals, but you can only push a person so fucking far before you're going to see this side here come out where it's like, fuck them all. And you get that attitude. They create it, then they want to badmouth you when they're confronted with it. You created the monster in us, and now you can't handle it, motherfuckers. You shouldn't have fucking pushed it that far.
Was there anything he could have done to slow Carol Baskin's roll as far as wanting to put him completely out of business?
Yeah, he could have stepped away. But I understand it was a battle. He wanted to win the battle. Anytime you get in something like that, your goal is to win.
What do you mean by stepped away? Like he could have just kept his mouth shut and just
he could have easily. You don't understand the whole story. Joe, back like during the time period of the first time I went to Joe's, that's when he was doing his Carol Baskin sagas. You see him on the thing where he pulls out the gun and blows that fucking blow up doll away and shit. That was Joe. And at first when we started watching, I can remember when my wife watched it, it was fucking hilarious.
Of course.
You were sitting there watching it, and Joe's just sitting there coming up with all these different things. It was, in all reality, it was better than the fucking Tiger King
It's
series.
everything that a reality show would want.
That's
That's why Rick Kirkland
That's
was
right.
there.
And that's right. That's why Rick Kirkland said, fuck yeah, I want to jump on this shit. This guy is the shit. And Joe was just doing that saga, trying to keep up with Carol, trying to get as many followers as he could to get on his side. But she had already had an army. Joe, we kept trying to tell Joe that. She has that already. She's going to knock you down every fucking time you think you took a step up. She's going to knock you down 3. He wouldn't listen. That was his downfall. He could have just said, whatever, blocked her from any and all communications, and just said, fuck it.
And you think she just would have went on to somebody else? She
probably wouldn't have, but I don't think she wouldn't have sued him and all that kind of shit. That was the downfall of Joe, is when he got sued. She won. He had to fucking hide all assets, turn it all over to his mom, Jeff Lowe, and all that kind of shit. That was when Carol Baskins won that fucking lawsuit. That was the destruction of Joe Exotic. It's a pity how it ended, but in all reality, Joe's goal was to shut down Carol Baskins, PETA, all of them. He may have had to serve some time in jail. He's going to get out with his appeal. I've seen the evidence Joe has. So if our government ignores all that and tries to say, oh, we weren't a part of it, they're lying stacks of shit. Hey, Joe, I got your back, brother. I got the evidence too. So if they try to destroy yours, and I've already passed it along, so we've got it hid. We've got all of the zip files. We've got it all, and it's fucking unreal.
So you think Joe may have lost the battle, but
he's going to win the war. You're damn right. And Joe didn't even realize that at the time when he got arrested and put in jail, because nobody wants to go to jail. I understand that terrified Joe. Scared the fuck out of it. But Joe, thank you. You did your time. But you're going to get out. You're going to be a free man again. You're going to get to go on with your life. And in the process, between us, we're going to take them all down.
Carol Baskins. Let's cover her for a little bit.
Bitch from hell.
I learned a little bit about her through Dennis Hill back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that she was an adversary, to put it kindly, for people in your industry. What in personal interactions, has she ever come after you?
Oh, yeah. She's attacked me on social media.
You've personally been on her watch list.
On social media. Oh, you can go on there and look on her right now. I'm on there. I'm number 1. I'm number 1 on their hit list. I am it.
And how do you navigate that?
It went there for a while. Me, Doc, and Joe was on this. She runs this 911 animal rescue thing, or whatever the fuck it's called. It's been years since I even looked on it, because I don't do that social media bullshit. I don't play them fucking games, But she's on there and bashing everything I fucking do. And then, like I said earlier, she is the one that hooked up with PETA and said, go get him. Attack him now.
And how do you navigate it? I mean, you just saw what happened ultimately to Joe. Now, you're a much different person than Joe. So how do you personally navigate those waters? Because she's a very powerful person, like it or not.
And when you get PETA, her buddy, on your ass, and if somebody would have told me 5 years ago that I was going to be sued by USDA, PETA, Indiana Attorney General, and all that kind of shit for what I do, I would have laughed in her face and said, there ain't no fucking way. I ain't doing nothing fucking wrong. And I haven't. I haven't broken any laws or any of that kind of shit. Have I bent the rules and twisted the laws? Well, fuck yes, I have. You have to in anything you fucking do anymore. Do we all do that? Yes, we do. Carol Baskins breaks more laws and bends more rules than all of us combined. And that's what I loved about the Tiger King Netflix series, is it's exposing that bitch.
Do you believe that she is vulnerable now?
Oh,
She's been exposed.
Oh, yeah. She's whining and crying. That's all she's doing now. That's wrong. I was portrayed wrong. Who. No, bitch. You were portrayed the exact way you should have been portrayed. And now it's coming up your ass. We are going to find Don, and we're also going to shut you down. Promise you, bitch. Watch.
There's not a person on social media that's not like a friend of Big Cat Rescue on their social media that I've seen say anything other than they think that Carol Baskin is responsible for the disappearance of her husband, Don. Do you agree with that as well?
Oh, yeah. I seen on Facebook this morning when I popped it up, a thing about her, and she's whining and crying because she's losing so much money now, and she's losing volunteers and everything else. Well, good, bitch. They're seeing the real you. They were volunteering for a scam artist, somebody that was portraying themselves to be something they're not. All you are is a hypocritical fucking cunt from the word go. You're a fucking murderer, and everything else. That's what you are. And that's what that Netflix series portrayed. So don't try to play off like you were being portrayed as something you weren't. If you weren't, prove your innocence, bitch. Why didn't you take the lie detector test? Oh, why not? You denied. Your lawyer told you not to take the lie detector. Why not? What's it going to show? I still don't think she fed that she fed Don Lewis to her cats. I don't believe that. I believe.
Why don't you? Because would there be remains still? First of all,
no.
Okay.
But I believe Dennis Hill told me 18, 20 years ago. He was into it with Carol Baskins over a bunch of shit, and he told me back then where Don Lewis was at. That he was put up underneath the fucking septic tank in the cougar cage. I remember Dennis telling me that 16, 18 years ago.
Would it surprise you at all if you were to see tomorrow on the news that the sheriff's department is arresting Carol Baskin for the murder of her husband?
Oh, hell no. I'm going to get on a fucking airplane as quick as possible so I can go down there and laugh at the bitch. I will be standing there laughing at her, and giving her the finger the whole fucking time, and telling her, good, hope you're rotten hell, bitch.
Is there evidence in the possession of people right now of Carol Baskin committing crimes?
I've got it.
Is there?
And that's what she's getting ready to find out. They're getting ready to find it all out. I've got you, bitch. I got all of you, bitches.
You have this information protected, so in the event, God forbid, you were to die in a car crash tomorrow, someone else would be able to present this evidence if needed.
You damn right. And I've got legal people that are got the evidence, got it all. So it's all there. It's all done. And I know they'll sit there and think, he ain't got nothing against me. Watch, motherfuckers. I was trained for this shit.
Jeff Lowe, you're not a fan of his.
I was.
You were. How did things start with you and Jeff Lowe?
The first time I met Jeff was through Joe. Jeff and Lauren are originally from South Carolina. And Joe called me out of the blue and said, hey, my business partner, Jeff and Lauren, are over in South Carolina. They wanted to know if they could come by and stop by your place on their way back to Oklahoma and see if you had anything. And Joe explained to me, hey, they're starting up this neon jungle thing out there, blah, 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 where they were going to have people play with sort of like what I do here. And I was like, yeah, Joe, you know me, I'm all about that, and I do have some stuff here. Well, Jeff and Lauren stopped by here. We talked. They seemed like good people. Joe told me they were good people. I gave them a baby ringtail lemur. I gave them a baby owl monkey. I gave them a fucking African crested porcupine baby to help them get along, because that's the type of person I am. I'm all about helping the industry, and they left. Well, it wasn't too long after they got back is when all the shit went down, and Jeff called me and was telling me that Joe was embezzling money and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you're fucking kidding me, and everything. Then Jeff kept telling me all this shit. Me and Jeff stayed in contact. We stayed in contact. Then we decided, that we needed to join forces, me and him, in order to make it stronger, powerful, and beat this shit. And I was having problems back here. I was having not only my legal problems, I was having marital problems. I was having fucking just problems, period. So I said, fuck it. And I ended up moving out to Oklahoma.
What was your understanding as far as the benefit of having Jeff Lowe as a partner, as far as you understood it then?
Because Jeff, I didn't know he was a con artist against anybody and everybody. I thought that he was a smart person and would be able to fucking help me attack PETA and Carol Baskin, or whoever the hell there is there. And I was hoping that's where it would go to. But instead, it went to where when I got out there, I was doing 99.9% of all the work. He was doing nothing but sitting around playing on the fucking computer all damn day and fucking going, yeah, I went to the strip clubs a few times with him and I tried to fit in. That shit don't do nothing for me. I went because to me it's comedy hour. to watch a bunch of guys walk around handing these girls money so they could touch their boobs. To me, that was it's comedy hour. It does not arouse me in any way, shape, or form. I like seeing pretty women and stuff, but it just does nothing for me. But, I like going. It gets you out of the fucking house, especially when I was out there in Bumfuck, Oklahoma. Gave me something to do. So we only went to the strip clubs like 3 different times. But Jeff would pay these hookers to come down there and stay in their cabins so him and Lauren could have orgies and shit and all that kind of crap. I wasn't into that. And so once I started seeing all of the illegal activities that Jeff Lowe and Lauren's just as guilty as he is, if not guiltier. He's pussy whooped. He just does whatever she tells him to do.
When you say illegal activities, is this like, you mean like embezzlement, or like financial crimes?
Well, between illegal activities like setting Joe up, Jeff admitted to me that he set Joe up, and that he did all that shit. Once I found that out, I started losing a little bit of respect because I thought, well, hold on, you set him up, So then I got to thinking, well, are you going to set me up? And then I started catching them in just dumb little lies. And that's when I was like, well, fuck, if he's going to lie to me about dumb little shit, he's going to lie to me about big fucking important shit. So is this the type of fucking business owner or business partner I want to be in partners with? And plus, he was just so fucking, in Jeff Lowe's eyes, he's never wrong. He's a badass. He's a gangster. He even tried to fucking post when I left Oklahoma that he confronted me 3 or 4 times and I cowered down. I don't cower down to no motherfucker for no goddamn reason. So Jeff Lowe, if you're listening, hey, you know where I live. Come on out here and let's see if I cower down, bitch. When he was telling me about these orgies he has and all this kind of shit, I said, well, do you ever have other guys involved or whatever? No. And I even asked him, I said, why? Are you scared of competition or what? Well, evidently, that's why. When you only got that much, I guess you're going to be scared of competition. So,
What?
I got monkeys with bigger dicks than he's got, So, I got female monkeys with bigger dicks than he's got.
When you said that he admitted to you that he set Joe up, did he give you any details? And was this setup, by setup, do you mean he set him up to basically take over the zoo?
That, and his goal was to get Joe Exotic completely taken out of the picture.
By getting
Put
arrested?
behind bars, killed, whatever the fuck it took. He wanted Joe out of the picture. He wanted to take over all of it. Even though when he first got it, he didn't know what to do with it. That's why he called me.
And on the Tiger King, you always saw someone following Jeff around with a cell phone.
Yep.
Videoing all the time.
That's that redheaded cunt he calls a wife.
That's his wife that's
Yep.
doing all the filming.
Yep.
Why are they doing that?
For blackmail.
Okay, so they're just constantly searching for blackmail. Is
That's
that
right.
like a pattern?
Just like on the Tiger King Netflix thing you've seen where Jeff walked in yelling and screaming at Joe. That Jeff told me that was a setup. They specifically went in there, and it was more or less in simple terms to try to show Jeff was the good guy. That he was going to confront this criminal. That's why when you see it, had Joe done some of it? Well, hell yeah, he had. But was Jeff Lowe aware of it? Goddamn right he was. Because if Joe embezzled $1,000, you can bet your ass Jeff Lowe got $750 of it.
So, do you know that, or is that just your guess? That he was like,
Jeff told me that. So,
Okay.
I mean, Joe was still sending a bunch of money, and Joe, well, I've got the zip files where Joe can prove it. He was sending money to Jeff in Vegas. They were, Jeff, more or less in simple terms, Joe worked for Jeff.
so it might be, is this a plausible scenario based on what he told you? Okay, go ahead, Joe, and write a check out of the zoo account for this much for your campaign, and you send me this much of it.
Yep. Jeff had Joe cashing checks like that. That's why he didn't want it to come down to where the bank tellers would tell the fucking truth or whatever the fuck happened out there. That's why wouldn't you go back to tell the bank or sue the bank? You owe me every amount of fucking money. You were letting him cash checks, and no, he no longer had that authority. So why wouldn't Jeff have attacked the fucking bank to get his money back?
So in theory, this was a scam cooked up to be able to get him arrested for it and out of the picture.
Yeah.
To get Joe arrested for
Exactly. Just to have more shit that he could talk shit about Joe on. So he could convince, I flew out there to do depositions in my PETA lawsuit with Joe and Jeff. And I had Joe one day, I had Jeff the next day. And Joe was on the run at that time, but he showed up to do his deposition for me. And he was there, did his deposition. He wasn't really on the run. He had done left the zoo. And so he wasn't a part of that, but Joe's a good friend of mine. He showed up to do the deposition. The next day, Jeff had his deposition. That was also the same day that Jeff went to talk to the feds to get his Rule 11, his immunity. Hi, big boy. Oh. Bomb bomb, he the bomb. And why is his name He the Bomb? Simply because he's the bomb. Hey, big boy, shoot up, shoot up. Hey, shoot up, shoot up, shoot up, shoot up, shoot up, get up there, shoot up. Good boy. You're a good boy. I know you my big boy. You big motherfucker, ain't you? Hey, where's my kiss? Where's my kiss? Thank you.
Can I video that? Shot of that.
Oh, watch how smart she is, though. Hey, Boom Baby, give me a kiss. Where's my kiss? Hey, give me a kiss. Give me one more. Give me one. Easy. Easy. Hey, easy. Good girl. One know it. You're my baby girl. You my baby girl. Hey, say honk.
That's just
animal abuse at its best. Right. You know what?
Joe Exotic is claiming that he paid Alan, who was Jeff Lowe's right-hand man that he brought into the operation. Mm-hmm. Joe's claiming that he paid him $3,000 to basically as a severance to just leave town and leave the zoo and get out of his hair because they were not getting along.
Yep. The
government, because of the information provided by Jeff Lowe and specifically Jeff Lowe
and James Garretson.
Mm-hmm. They're claiming that he was convicted, that $3,000 was given to Alan for the sole purpose of going to Tampa, Florida, and murdering Carol Baskin.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe Joe?
I believe Joe. Now, did Joe want Carol Baskins dead? Well, fuck yes, he did. There ain't a single person in the animal industry that don't want the bitch dead. But Joe would have done it a long time ago. And it's like Doc Annell said on the thing. $3,000, really? $30,000 ain't even going to get it done. $100,000 maybe, but $3,000. Even a dumbass like Alan Glover. What a lot of people don't understand is while I was out in Oklahoma, Alan Glover lived with me for about a month and a half, 2 months, something like that. And Alan's a super nice guy. He's just a hardcore drunk, And so when he gets drunk, he gets stupid, just like a normal drunk. He drinks cheap-ass hardcore liquor, whiskey and shit. But Alan, if you watch the Netflix series, number one, at one time, he states that he took the $3,000 and he drove all the way over there. And when he got into Florida, apparently, I chickened out. That's the words he used.
Apparently.
Then, apparently, I chickened out. Then later on, he states, well, I never even went to Florida. When I got over here, apparently I chickened out. He used that word twice. You wouldn't use the word apparently if you weren't being told what to fucking say.
I heard in one of the recordings on there, Alan said to someone, hell no, I didn't go to Tampa. Why would I go to Tampa? I wouldn't go to Tampa on vacation.
That's right.
Yet in court, he testified that he went to Tampa.
That's right. So, I mean, he's so, like I said, Alan is a super nice guy.
Do you feel like he got used?
Oh, yeah. He got used, misled, and now when it came down to it, Alan didn't know how to handle it. He thought he was just going. It wasn't going to be no rap, no nothing, blah, 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 blah. They were just going to take Joe down and all that kind of shit. Then when it went ballistic, as you heard on the phone call between Jeff and Alan on that bullshit, well, number one, why would you be holding your phone up? recording this conversation between you and Alan Glover if you were Jeff Lowe. It was scripted. You could tell if you listened to it again, it was more or less like Joe or Jeff is asking Alan questions, sort of like what an attorney would do. And now, don't let me put words in your mouth. Did you go to Tampa? Did you take money from Joe? Did you, just boom, 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 just like he was sitting in a fucking courtroom or something. They were rehearsed 110%. When Alan lived with me, and one night he got drunk and he made the remark to me, it was because it made Alan mad. Alan did not like anybody telling him what to do or how he had to do it. Alan didn't like that shit. And he told me he was mad as hell because the next day he had to go to rehearsal with the feds.
For his testimony?
For his testimony against Joe Exotic. He had to go to rehearsal. That's the word Alan used when he told me. Now they're trying to say all this bullshit. The feds were in on it. They didn't give a fuck. As long as they got to take Joe down, for whatever reason they had against Joe before that, who the fuck knows? I don't understand really whatever got, quote unquote, the feds involved in Joe. Because that's one thing the Tiger King series never fucking mentioned, is why were the feds there? What was Joe doing that was wrong before they come into this so-called murder for hire bullshit?
Do you think Garrettson went specifically to the feds because he was in trouble and just said, I know something you don't know?
Yep. And Garrettson made a bunch of shit up because he's nothing but a fat criminal piece of shit. I met him one time, and he's as useless as a fishnet condom. I mean, he pretty much serves no fucking purpose whatsoever. And he thinks he's hot shit. He thinks he's Mr. Noah. He's nothing but a fucking crook.
Did you like the way he rides a jet ski?
Yeah, you got to love that. I never seen a fucking beached whale fucking ride a jet ski before until the Tiger King Netflix come out. And he's just a worthless piece of shit. And that's why nobody liked me, because I didn't tolerate their shit. I didn't play along with their game. I didn't go along with it. Me and James Garrettson, like I said, I met him one time. It was actually the time I went out there to do the depositions with Jeff and Joe. And that was before I ever moved to fucking Oklahoma. When I got out there, I was bored. I was staying the night, and I thought, hell, I'd been in contact with James Garrettson. I didn't really know who he was. So I thought, I'm going to go meet him face to face. Hell, I could read through that within the first 30 seconds after meeting him. I thought, hell, you're nothing but a fucking con artist piece of shit. So I caught through that real quick. So I never had anything else. I would talk to him on the phone and shit, and I could tell when I was talking to him on the phone that he was trying to get anything he could get on me. And, I could tell that automatically. So, again, I just sort of stayed away from that worthless fat bastard. Oh, quit. Hey, I want a kiss. Thank you. You're my baby girl. Can I have one more? Hey, where's one more? Thank you. You my baby girl. Let me punch you in the nose. Pow. Huh?
Did Jeff ever say anything to you that would indicate that he kind of fabricated this payoff story on the $3,000?
To be honest, I don't remember Jeff ever really talking about the money. That I remember him telling me, Joe paid Alan $3,000. The other thing, if you listen to it on that Netflix thing, Alan flat ass hated Joe Exotic from the very second they met. And Alan would not do anything. He specifically even sat there and stated, I didn't work for that motherfucker. I wasn't doing nothing for him. I worked for Jeff. Then Jeff speaks up on the thing and says, yes, Alan Glover worked for me, not for Joe. Then how in the fuck did Joe just out of the blues say, hey, Alan, come here. I'm going to hand you $3,000 and you're going to go kill Carol Baskins. Really? They done sit there and said that he didn't work for Joe. He only took orders from Jeff, blah, 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 blah. So who gave the order? Really? Do you really have to sit down and figure that one out? Joe wanted her dead. And if they were willing to do that, hell, Joe was all for it. I can promise you that.
So chronologically speaking, Joe was indicted and arrested prior to you being in Oklahoma for the new zoo and living with Alan?
That's right.
So all your interaction with Alan came after this whole thing
After
happened.
it all went down, after everything, because Alan was in South Carolina. You see that phone call.
You think if push comes to shove, Alan's ride or die on behalf of Jeff, or do you think push comes to shove if he has information that's contrary to what Jeff has testified to?
Oh, I can promise
go
you.
back on it?
I can promise you. Alan Glover has the truth about all of it. He knows everything, but Alan is indebted to Jeff for numerous reasons, so now he's in conspiracy with Jeff. So Alan, I feel sorry for him because he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. That's one reason I think why Alan wanted to just go back to South Carolina and didn't. That's why he was getting severance pay, is he wanted to get away from it all before he did get buried any deeper or any of that kind of shit. The one person that hasn't been put in the spotlight is Lauren.
Jeff's wife.
Jeff's wife. She's just as much, if not worse, than he is.
And why is that?
She is the mastermind behind a lot of the shit. I seen that for myself. She rules. Jeff's a pussy whoop little dick motherfucker.
In the documentary, he came off as more the...
He's the Billy Badass.
Yeah.
He's the Mr. Macho. Bullshit. Lauren wears the pants in that relationship. Anybody that knows him will vouch for that. Jeff may stand up and literally throw his little temper tantrums, and all that kind of shit. But at the end of the day, Lauren gets what she wants. And she's the one that thinks up a lot of this shit. They're both fucking, I guarantee you, Lauren was involved in the murder for hire setup too. She's just as guilty as Jeff is, And because, how can you sit there and watch that documentary? How can Joe be in prison and Alan not be? He was the hitman. He's the one that literally took money to do the job. If it even goes the way they said it went. So how does he get immunity? For what? Rehearsing what to say against Joe in court?
How did Lauren and Jeff always seem to have money? How were they able to fool people about being wealthy?
They pretty much told me different, stories about different shit. Jeff supposedly was a millionaire. That motherfucker ain't never amounted to shit. He's always tried to portray himself as Mr. Moneyman. Now, right after the fucking Netflix thing come out, he bashed me and Joe, said he was proud to take down the bad animal people like Joe Exotic and Tim Stark. And he's had to endure all kinds of shit. He even had to sell his Ferrari to take care of the animals and shit. And it's like, really? You had to sell it? No, I beg to differ, you sorry piece of shit motherfucker. You never had it. It was repoed a long motherfucking time ago. So he's so full of shit. Me and Jeff were friends up until about 3 days after I left Oklahoma. Then he turned on me. I can show text. I left August 18th. I can show you a text on August 19th. I hope you made it home safe. I hope your health gets better. That's the main thing. You're a good guy. Blah, 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 blah. On August 19th, the day after. 2 days after that, I think it was August 21st, is when he started fucking going ballistic. Why? Because the lady he conned into buying the property down there in Thackerville, I went over. He messaged me when I told him I was leaving. He messaged me and said, I don't know what we're going to do. I think we're just going to stay up here and run this zoo in Wynnewood. And we'll just let Cheryl fucking deal with that property down there. She can sell it or whatever the fuck she needs to do. After she lived in Oklahoma City and was selling her place there to move down there. And I thought, that ain't fair to her. That ain't right. So I went over. I didn't much care for Cheryl, but I thought, she needs to be told. She's in the middle of this mess and she's going to get fucked. So I went over and had a heart-to-heart with her and told her, I said, you may be getting fucked. And she's like, well, she worships the ground Jeff walks on. And I'm like, well, I'm just here to warn you. And then she said something. They had just had a baby shower at the new property for Lauren, for the baby. And one of the hookers were there walking around. One of the hookers from Vegas was walking around in a miniskirt with nothing on, with their pussy, ass, and everything else hanging out. And I asked Cheryl, I said, you are aware that she was just one of them paid fucking hookers, right? And what do you mean? And I'm like, you are aware that Jeff and Lauren both are obsessed with hookers and shit, that if Jeff has his way, this property won't only have a zoo on it, it'll also have a strip club. That's his goal. That's what he wants. No. I said, well, who do you think that was here walking around with her hootie hoo sticking out, during the fucking baby shower? I said, yeah, I was back in Indiana at the time, but Roy and fucking Valerie told me all about it. And she's like, well, I kind of wondered. I said, that's one of their fucking hooker bitches, And thank you. I love you too. But I mean,
Who's the nanny at the?
There is no nanny.
It was that just someone they brought in just for that scene.
Flew her into Vegas. Flew her in from Vegas. She's a fucking professional model. Now they're showing it out, and they even admitted, yeah, she was just there for a story. No, Jeff fucking got caught in lies. Is what it amounts to. So he is so fucking fake and so full of shit. I've never met a man in my life that number one is that full of shit, and number two somehow gets away with it.
Yeah, and he has sometimes money because he wrote a $35,000 check.
Him and Lauren both told me that at one time there was some foreign lady, Asian lady or something, that came there out of the blues and wanted to volunteer and all this kind of shit and blah, 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 blah. But she acted a little higher sophisticated and shit, like she didn't look or act like the type that wanted to go out there and play in tiger shit all fucking day. So they kind of questioned it. One night they drugged her, knocked her ass down, knocked her out. And they went through all of her shit. And that's when they found out that she was a madam, female pimp, whatever the fuck they're called. And that just made their day. They confronted her and told her, cut us in or we turn you in. And so we guess, we have no proof, but evidently there's still something there. She's doing women from all over the world, especially Asian women. She sells them, all kinds of shit. And so it's like, Jeff and Lauren both sit there and told me the whole fucking story. Joe brought it up on the thing that, that they did it and everything. You're goddamn right.
So you think maybe he gets money from her?
He has to be. He has to be. Either that or he's got Donald Trump fucking a goat on fucking video or something. He's getting his ass covered by somebody and he's getting money handed to him by somebody. I know, baby girl. Here, we'll cover up Nasty Boomba. There, my boy. I know. You just get so excited. I know, love her daddy. I know. I love you too. I know. I'm an animal abuser. Oh my gosh.
Look how horribly you're treating that animal.
I know. I love my baby. You get excited. I know. You get excited. Oh my God. You get so excited. I know. You get excited. You get so excited. You sure do smell like a baboon ass though. You know it? Huh?
You want to say anything to the people that loved Tiger King so much and loved you in particular?
I come across as a hard ass. I'm not. Society's made me into that. I've always been a hardcore motherfucker. But, all this shit with all the legal shit, all the animal rights activist crap and everything like that, it drives you literally insane. It puts you to the point where you're ready to explode and all that kind of shit. So anything that went on with Jeff, Joe, mainly Joe is a good guy. Jeff, worthless piece of shit. Lauren, piece of shit. A lot of them out there were pieces of shit, but they're still individuals. They're still people. So I don't give a fuck one way or another. I just want to be left alone. I want to be able to entertain people. I want to be able to have my animals. I want to be able to do my business and all that kind of shit. As far as the Tiger King thing goes, it was all of these people that are claiming now that, they portrayed me wrong, this or that, blah. You were there. You did it. Shut your fucking whining up. What reporter has ever done a legitimate story? Name one. In all these years, nobody's ever, they go wherever they think the ratings are going to take them. That's their job, dumbasses. So don't whine and cry and bitch now that you were portrayed wrong. Who wasn't portrayed wrong in the Tiger King? This motherfucker right here. I'm true and true, straight, legit, period, 100%. I play no fucking games.
Why do you think you were kind of treated differently by the camera?
Because they knew that they wasn't going to be able to portray me as a goofy bastard or a toothless wonder or an old drunk or any of that kind of shit. Here's another story. Eric Cowie, the long, stringy, blonde-haired piece of shit motherfucker that was on there. You know who he is now? The head guy that runs the park.
For Jeff
Lowe. How did he get him? Before I ever went to Oklahoma, Jeff fired Eric because he was a worthless scumbag piece of shit. I've got pictures of the conditions Eric was living in. Oh my God, the landfill don't look that bad. Literally. And then when I get out there to Oklahoma, Jeff and Lawrence driving down that interstate one day, and there's Eric walking down the street. They stopped and picked him up. Talked to him, talked about his drug addiction, all this kind of shit, and said, hey, we'd like for you to come back and work at the park because you're getting desperate on employees. They were running low on employees. So they got desperate. They talked him in, said, we need you to go to rehab, and I'll pay for it, is what Jeff told him. They sent him to rehab. You know how long he was in rehab? 3 days. He walked out. Jeff went and picked him up. Jeff put him in charge of the park, and now that dumb meth addict, drunk bastard walks around with a pistol on his fucking side all day long. And you've seen him on the show. Motherfucker was so fucked up. Every time they interviewed him, especially the time he was sitting on his bed and he couldn't even fucking sit up, falling over, slurring. He was so fucked up it wasn't funny. That is who Jeff Lowe's got running his park. Great choice. Good choice.
Bottom line, the GW Zoo is not in better hands.
Oh, it's in worse hands than ever.
Will Jeff ever open that new zoo in Packerville?
Oh, no. I'll make sure of that. Sorry, Jeff. Like I told you on the Niger Flicks. Here I come, motherfucker. Hi, Bubba's. Hi, Bubba's. Hi, Bubba's. Hi, Bubba's. Hi, big boy. Hi, big boy. Hey, push it up. Push it up. Get up and see your dad. Come here. Hi, baby girl. Hi, baby girl. I know you love your daddy, don't you? Hi, sweet. Somali. 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 I know.